Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back for some more EVE Online. In today's video we are going to continue our experiments with the Praxis and these new emerging conduits. In the last video we saw that it is possible to solo these new conduits, but we were forced to retreat, and that is of course quite far from optimal. So as a result I've been doing some more of these, and the Praxis can very well solo one of these conduits, but I think that I want to try and improve it still a little bit more, and so we will see if that is actually possible. I thought of two possible avenues to do this. Unfortunately, they're not always working out the way I want them. For instance, I had two mutaplasmids that dropped that could potentially improve my damage control, but it turns out that the potential benefit from the mutaplasmids is only on structure resistance, which has been very positive on both of them. These are the two gambles that I made, and you can see that all my resistances across the board went up. This one was with a decayed damage control mutaplasmid up to 45% on thermal, and here we have a gravid damage control mutaplasmid that gives me 52% structure kinetic damage resistance. That's pretty good. Of course it does take more CPU to fit, so I think that well, I was hoping that it would also be possible, if I press show info on this one, which is by far the better, that you would also be able to increase the resistance profile of the shields, which is of course what matters in this Praxis, and that doesn't work. So yeah, using mutaplasmids on a damage control will not help for this fit. On the other hand, a viewer pointed out that for passive shield tanks there is a different kind of rig, so I'm using large core defense field extenders, and they suggested that I use the large core defend field purgers. Now, I'm of a mixed mind here, and I've already replaced one of these. It's true that my HP a second goes up from 112 to 121, but my HP also goes down with like 3500 HP, which is quite a lot of time potentially on the last wave. So I'm really not sure which is better. And perhaps we should just, give this a go, make this part of the experiment. I think I'll do that. So we're gonna destroy this. Go down to 26,000 HP, and then we go down like this, we go down to 22,000 HP. If I put these in, then my HP a second, it's now 115, and it is now up to 104 HP a second, but compared to the previous version, we are down to 22,000 HP rather than almost 34,000 HP. So I'm not sure how we will withstand the final wave, but that's what we're here to find out. So this is the change that we have made to the Praxis. Let's see if it can handle one of these conduits solo. In Detail they don't seem to spawn, but in Chunka they do always spawn. So let's get over there, let's get everything ready. We've got the mobile tractor unit. I'm using Berserker 2s for my drones. I feel like they do a decently good job here, and then I'm still just rocking the heavy missile launchers. Pretty steady DPS. Some people have suggested stuff like rapid missile launchers, but this side takes a decent amount of time, and I think you'll have several reloads anyways, so I'm not sure if that's really the best option. It could perhaps help, of course, with the final wave to get rid of the cruiser more quickly. That is of course possible, but what I'm also worried about is my fitting. You can see that my CPU is very, very tight at this point. With only a little bit left, I'm hoping that this is basically enough to put in a remote shield booster, adding that, and then potentially making that like sort of a fleet doctrine if CCP ever comes out with a better fleet finding tool. It could be an option. So let's get in system. And let's go to the emerging conduit. There's 6 people in local. We'll see if I'm actually the first one to get there. And yeah, I am really curious about that much diminished amount of HP. It is quite a lot. It's like 12,000 less. That's like 50% of my HP is gone. But we do have a significant higher HP a second rate, up from 112 to 144. That's not 50% though. So okay, I feel like we may have made a mistake, but we will see. Someone suggested I give it a try, so let's give it a try. Into the site we come. Anything? Could take a quick look on the scan. Blood Raiders still here. We do have a Tengu and a Loki. They may be running the conduit. Let's see if that's indeed happening. No, they are not. Okay, we are first on the scene. Pretty cool. Potentially you can mine all of this as well. And then somewhere here in the center, we'll have the triglavians that will appear. Let's go. I'm gonna sit still. Someone also said, why don't you like orbit your mobile tractor unit? Honestly, it hardly makes a difference, especially once a Weber comes out. You're so slow. I feel that just being close to the mobile tractor unit so that you can get out and grab everything you need more quickly is actually the safer choice here. So let's go. The abyss has opened up and we have a first wave. 2 destroyers and 3 frigates. Let's start targeting these. Range here, 31 kilometers. Not great, but it will be fine. Right now they're not doing damage either. You can see that they're firing at me, but my shield effect is not going. And all we have so far, oh, it's a target painter. That's all that's happening. So I'm definitely still out of range for them. First one is coming in. It is a harrowing. Which is annoying. I think you want to get rid of those as quickly as possible, but my applied DPS is a lot better on these destroyers and they do more damage as well. So you always, in my opinion, want to focus on these high damage target first. And now the Loki and the Tengu come in. Let's see if they try to grab the site or if they move on to a different system. That's that's pretty cool. And now we can see that they're also nuding me and webbing me. So yeah, if I would start to orbit, I mean, sure, it would make like a little bit of a difference, but really hardly any in my opinion. So we're just gonna sit still. That's the first one down. Let's start firing at the next one while our Tech 3 cruiser friends vacate the site, leaving me to it alone. And let's keep going, of course. Next up, the dangling Rasnapor Kikimora. You can see that the application here is quite good on the small ones like this harrowing. Yeah, we'll start with that, not a problem. The drones will have a lot more misses, but when they do hit, the hits are so large that I think it's better to keep them up and to not always switch to like small drones or anything like that. 312 here, then 186, not bad, and blap, he's gone. So this works decently well in my opinion. And my shield is currently holding at 80%. So next up we have the starving Rasnaborg. Let's see how we can handle this one. Again, look at the Berserker missing quite often. It's 2 misses here as well, but when they do hit, it's 144, 166, and that makes up for practically a whole volley of your small drones, so I think it's worth it. And then for the final one, what I tend to do is to see what my shields are at. All right, 80%, it's okay, but like maybe a little bit of shields back could be all right. So we're actually just gonna launch 1 missile volley. This gives me the time to quickly reload as well. And we're gonna allow the drones to try to get the final hit on this one, but again here 3 misses, 4 misses, finally a hit. These are pretty decent. That's gonna start to shoot through the armor. Finally some full hits on this one, but it is a bit slower. On the other hand, it's the final one, which means that we get a bit of time to regen back to 83%. Next wave, quite a bit harder, of course. We've got 3 destroyers now, and then, well, that's not that harder, 3 destroyers and 3 frigates, so that should still be doable. They're coming in. I recall the drones because we don't want them to be targeted. And we've got Zoria's Kikimora right off the bat. Potentially, I think she can drop some really nice loot. So we're at 30. Let's fire a first volley and let's actually risk just deploying the drones as well. Now we'll have incoming damage. And going up to 200 something. Yep. Rasnapor Kikimora at 200. I think that's gonna be Zoria's Kikimora that does that kind of damage. That's basically the trick. Get that one off the field right away. The rest are at 24, 34, 27. So obviously completely different. But now you can see that both the Kikimoras are starting to go up in damage amounts as well. So we're doing okay. And my regen is now going. We are at 77% though, as the first one falls. Next one, we've got again cap neutralizing, webification, and target painting. I think eventually the target painting needs to go. That's the harrowing. That's this one. That should reduce DPS a little bit, but yeah, on as big a target as this Praxis, It's not gonna make that big a difference. And then here we go on the next one. And after that we should definitely stabilize. So we're back down to 74% now. I think we're gonna hold pretty steady. You can see the incoming damage goes up to like 56 for the small Damavix. And then the destroyers shoot way above that, of course. So now we should pretty easily stabilize. 3 of them, 40-ish damage. That's 120, so we should very easily be able to tank that. Especially if they don't shoot every single second. I'm not exactly sure what their rate of fire is. It's definitely not every second. So here we're actually gaining shields again. 77%. One eye on the drones. That one goes down. And I'm really curious how we're gonna perform in the final wave. Because I've had a final wave that has pushed me to 17% before going down. If we get that type of damage, I think we are going to struggle quite a lot to keep up and to be able to stay here. Let's see if that one dropped anything. Nope, nothing so far. That one needs to go down, and that is nice, of course. 2 Kikimoras coming in, and we're actually able to rep back shields in a passive way back up to 81%. That's not so bad. For the final one, we're just gonna try to give ourselves as much room as possible for the regen, going back up to 82. Reloading the missiles and allowing my drones to do the job. Let's see how far we can regen with just 1 Damavix shooting us. 84. Not bad. And still going back up here, I hope. We are getting shot at 47. 44 again, 85, yeah, all right, 85%. Honestly, that regen is not bad. That's pretty, 86, that's pretty damn impressive. Okay, final wave is here. We have Zoria's Vetmak as our primary, and then we only have 2 destroyers. I've seen worse, so this should definitely be possible. Then we're gonna grab some of these guys, and here we go. Speed is of the essence, especially with its lower HP pool, so we're just gonna send the Berserkers right on that cruiser. And this is the real challenge, of course, being able to stay here despite all the incoming DPS. So let's start firing the missiles as well, and let's hope for some good hits. This generally works out quite well. The Berserkers will miss, but not as much as on the frigates, of course. And let's see if we can spot the deeps. They start at 20 to 30-ish, right? But you can see here 200, 300, that's the destroyers. And then if we spot something that's way above that, 355, that's the Vedmak. Yeah, that's a lot more DPS, of course. If you take that off the field first, that's really super important that you do that. That's like 10 frigates that you take off the field. So very, very important to prioritize the bigger targets first. My shields are going down, 59. So is the Vedmak. So go, go, go. Berserkers and missiles, please do your work. That's a good chunk of structure gone. Couple more hits. Send in the missiles. She's gone. Okay, we are at 50% though, and this is still quite a lot that is going to go up in damage. You can see here now 34, 40, 50-ish. So it is a decent amount of DPS, but I should also get closer and closer to my optimal regen rate as well. So here we go. Let's see, 42%. All right. Let's take that Kikimora off the field. That one goes down. Should be like 200 damage a pop gone as well. Then we have this one. Target something else. So the good news is these heavy Berserker 2s will very well apply on these destroyers. They basically orbit so close that you've got quite a bit of DPS. Incoming, that one is gone. Then I think harrowing tends to be something you want to take care of first, although now it's not exactly against my missile DPS. And we can notice that we're at 40% now, and let's see if we can hold despite the fact that all of these small little Damavix are going. This is not bad. It's actually pretty impressive, although this is not the strongest DPS wave as the final wave that you can encounter in this. Let's go. Fire. in this side. I think that you can have more destroyers basically. That's gonna be a real test, right? I'm still getting there to that 40%. If they can get me below that 30%, my regen starts to go down very quickly. So it's quite comfortably doing this side, but that increased HP I think might just be just as good as this regen shield rig fit. So let's go on the next one. You can see that we are obviously stabilized at this point. They are taking away quite a bit of my cap, but that doesn't matter. In fact, we're going back up to 42, 43%, and we only have 5 hit max left. So this has completely stabilized. Very, very nice. It's a little bit unfortunate, right, that you can't increase your shield resistance with the Mutaplasmids. That would have been very cool, and we would have had an even easier time, and in fact a nice avenue for us to work on upgrading our own ships like that. You can still do that, I think, but you need to have very specific Mutaplasmids. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for the damage controls. In the meantime, we do have some stuff in here. The Gate Assault Damage Control Mutaplasmid. That's interesting. So these obviously drop. I think it's always from Zoria's ship. You can see how strong the regen is now. We're back up to above 50%. So we are going to stabilize this very, very nicely. And let's take a look at what the potential impact is on this. It's again, unfortunately, only structure resistance and not for the shields or for the armor. That's unfortunate, but of course it would perhaps be completely overpowered if you would be able to do that so easily. And well, these damage controls for these Mutaplasmids for damage controls, I'm sorry, do seem to be dropping quite often from these sites. So that's, I think, pretty good to know. I think some freighter pilots, for instance, might be interested in the ones that I've created before. Some of these Triglavian survey databases, I think they still hold their value decently well. Of course, the final part here is to grab the rest of the Rex, and that has gone down in value substantially, which I think is normal. An anomaly is super accessible, and it is basically going to normalize how much you can make from these sites. Just through sheer oversupply from all the people running them. But okay, I like the fact that we are back up to 70% in shields by the time we take out the final rat. I'm just not sure if losing that much HP, like close to 50% HP, is worth it. Because if the final wave does overwhelm you, I've been able to tank it very well with the previous fit with the shield extenders, and here, I don't know. We didn't go down that low though, like 40-ish%, so as long as we stay around the 30-ish%, I think we're okay. Yeah, alright, the Praxis, from what you can see right here, can solo these emerging conduits without having to retreat, which is of course very nice for your efficiency here. I'll put this link in the comments. The regen is actually pretty impressive and works quite well. When it comes to the salvaging, obviously you could speed things up by putting a salvager in the high slots. I'm gonna consider actually a shield booster for a bit of spider tanking, and for efficiency in your looting I do highly recommend that you target the Rex and that you put individual salvage drones on these, just to, you know, avoid duplicate cycles as much as possible. And there comes the loot. So more of this, but you can see this has dropped substantially in value, unfortunately. Well, that's because it is super popular content at the moment, I think, in HiSec. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. Awesome Praxis. I'll try to look at other options for these, but I feel like this is very nice, very comfortable. Passive shield tank, missiles and drones, like the dream combination in PvE. So I really enjoy running these sites in this ship, actually. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.